Hey y'all, this is Jantel with Queens Up Poker. My hair is doing its own thing today. Okay, I hope you're having a great day, and I'm so thankful that you chose to spend a little piece of it with me. I had the bright idea to go play Omaha. So obviously, I'm a Hold'em player, whether that be for cash or tournaments. Texas Hold'em is the game that I have the most experience playing. But I was watching some of the other vlogs, and people are starting to get into PLO a little bit more often. The thing too is that if you play bomb pots, that's basically PLO. Well, it's Omaha in that you have 4 or more cards. And you have to use exactly 2 cards out of your hand and 3 cards on the board. So if there are 4 of the same suit and you only have 1 of that suit in your hand, you don't have a flush. You have to have 2 of that suit in your hand and 3 of that suit on the board in order for you to have a flush. But this was nothing like playing bomb pots. Let me show you. So I am headed to the casino. I do not advise recording a video while you're driving, but thankfully traffic is moving very slowly because they have a PLO game rolling. Actually, they have 2 tables. One is PLO, which is only 4 cards, and they have Big O, which is 5 cards. But Big O is a high-low game, and I prefer just playing high only. If you guys have played any bomb pots, this is like, in my mind, it's like bomb pots. So a lot of the home games and private games that I've played recently all have some type of bomb pot. So they play max cards. So it's a double board, and depending on how many people are in, you could get anywhere from 5 to 10 plus cards. So I've played that quite a bit, and I'm thinking that PLO and Big O are going to be similar to bomb pots, just a single board. So I'm interested to see how I do. I've played it once before and I did okay. So I'm gonna try again my hand at this PLO thing and see how it goes. Oh my God, I did a horrible job of capturing these hands on camera. This was my first time trying to record hands at the table. And oh my goodness, I was able to figure out how to get my cards to be seen clearly. But at one point I totally forgot I was even vlogging. And so I would like cover my hand or cover the cards with my fingers, or I didn't ever get the board right. Like I could never get a view of the board because I was trying to be inconspicuous. And the other thing that I mistakenly did not do was keep a record of what my hands were, because I didn't know if it was okay or whatever. So it was a whole situation. I did not do very well with capturing these hands. However, at least I can learn from it, and next time I'll be able to hopefully get a better angle, have things look a little bit better with the vlog. But what I wanted to mention was what I learned about the experience. So I had played PLO maybe two or 3 other times. I know I played it at that casino one other time. Only played it for about an hour or so. And then there was another time I played live, like PLO live. I can't remember, but I know I played it one other time. Oh, that is it. That's the other time that I played. I remember that. Because there was this guy who was stuck like some outrageous amount of money, and he just would pot it. Every time it was his turn, he would just pot it. No matter what the cards were, no matter what his hand was, he would just pot it. And either he was like, I'll either win or lose. Other than that, I've basically only done bomb pots, like I mentioned. Here are the things I learned that make PLO very, very different than Hold'em. So, first of all, what's difficult about PLO or Pot Limit Omaha, any pot limit game, is that it's very difficult to protect your hand. So I was playing a 5-5 pot limit game, which means that the bet size can only be what's already in the pot. You can't overbet the pot. So in a hand where one of the hands that I played, I had 6, 7, I think I had king, queen, and another card. I can't remember what it is right now. Didn't capture this one on the recording. So The flop, however, was 5, 8, 9. So I flopped a straight with 6, 7, which is the nuts, but there were 2 diamonds on the board. Since everyone had limped, the pot was only $25. The 5 of us that were playing, the pot was only $25. So the most that I could bet was $25. And with the 2 diamonds on the board, I wanted to protect my hand, but I could only bet $25. And all of the other players were playing pretty deep. So to bet 25 is not going to protect my hand if you're on a diamond draw. And so that's really what happened. There was another player or 2 players that were on, one was on a diamond draw and one was on a bigger straight draw. So when the flop hits and I have the nuts, I bet 25, I get 2 callers. The turn is an ace, which doesn't change anything. But because now to bet pot is over $100, and my stack was I was the short stack at the table. I was like, okay, they're not gonna fold for 100 because they're sitting on probably well over $1,000 each. $100 is not gonna deter them. I'm gonna go ahead and check it and just hope that things don't really change too much on the river. And it checked around. The river was a queen, which now changed the nuts to Jack 10. So when my opponent let out for 200, it put me in a really tough spot. The other player in the hand folded, and again, this is my Hold'em thinking, right? So in Hold'em, because you only have 2 cards, it's easy to imagine what your opponent might be playing. So when the diamond draw missed, if I was playing Hold'em, I could think, okay, this guy may have been on a diamond draw because he just called, he didn't raise, or whatever, right? Maybe he has the same 6, 7, this, then the third. But I also would have been able to bet more in the pot so that I could have protected my hand, hopefully, against a diamond draw. So when the river hits and it's a queen, that's what it was. I had 6, 7, queen, queen, and a king in my hand. So the river card gave me a set, but because the board wasn't paired, I didn't boat up, of course. And so I have a set plus a straight. The diamond draw missed. I do see that Jack 10 is the nuts, but I'm thinking to myself, would he have really stayed in on that board with Jack 10 if he didn't have a diamond draw? Or was he really just chasing a queen? Was he just chasing a 7? Like, what's going on? And so I called as a way to kind of learn more so than, because I could afford it at the time. I went ahead and called to see what was going on. And he sure enough had Jack 10. So the interesting thing about this hand is that my opponent actually was chasing the nut flush from the flop. But with 5 cards, he also had Jack 10, which gave him a straight draw. And he hit his straight on the river. Here's the other part of this game. So, like I mentioned, Big O is a high-low game. So if you have the nut low, which is basically ace, 2, 3, 6. Yeah, ace, 2, 3, 4, 6 is the nut low. So to have a low hand, basically what it is, to me, it's the equivalent of bidding nil in spades. And I hate that. Like, I don't think you should be rewarded for having junk, okay? And to me, like, when you are able to make a nil in spades, it's basically saying I have no decent cards, and so I'm going to get extra points because I have garbage, which is so irritating to me. But that's basically what playing the low in Big O is to me. So basically, what you want to do is have the lowest hand without any pairs or without hitting a straight. So that's why it would be ace, 2, 3, 4, 6. Because if you had a 5, obviously you'd have the straight, so on and so forth. So to have the low, 3 cards on the board have to be less than an 8. So it has to be an 8 or below. So ace through 8 count as the low cards. You have to have 3 of those on the board in order for you, if you have ace deuce in your hand, for example, and then there's 3, 5, 7 on the board, that means you would have the nut low because you'd have ace 2, 3, 5, 7. And so that being said, if there are 3 cards that are higher than the 8, then there is no low. It becomes just a basic, PLO high hand. and only the high hand wins. You don't have anything to do with a split pot. So like a lot of times, if there are those 3 cards lower than an 8, you end up with a split pot because someone has the low and then someone has the high. There was one hand that I did play where I did have the low and I ended up chopping the pot, which was great because I really didn't understand what was going on. I knew I didn't have the best hand. I knew I had lost as far as the high is concerned, but I had ace deuce in my hand or ace 3 in my hand, which gave me the low, and I ended up getting half of the pot. So it's a lot to learn, and so it was a lesson this time. When I go back next time, I have a better understanding of how it goes. I don't know if I'm gonna make Omaha like a regular game that I play, but it's something to do. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit different than playing Hold'em and just kind of trying to figure out the rules and the nuances thereof. But like I said, the main things that I took away from it were, number 1, it's very difficult to protect your hand. Number 2, you definitely need to start off with a big stack, or just have the cards cooperate. What I mean by that is, at this particular game, most players were playing a stack of between $500 and $1,000. The initial table that I sat down that was supposed to be PLO, just high only, I promise you, dude sat down with $5,000. I had $250 He had $5,000 to play the game, and that game just didn't actually get rolling. So that's how I ended up playing Big O instead. But there are players that will start off with thousands of dollars to be able to put pressure on you and really charge you to get to the river. It was interesting. So that was my PLO experience. I only won 2 hands. Like I said, there was one hand that I chopped. There was one hand that I had pocket queens and flopped quads. I ended up winning a hand where I flopped a flush, and I had king 3 of spades in my hand. The flop was ace 8 9 of spades. I check it. One person bets, 2 callers before me. I go ahead and I call because I don't want to run anyone away, just in case. The turn is a 10 of spades. And so they lead out for 145, which was the pot. They bet 145. Everybody else folds. I call the 145, just hoping that they don't have a straight flush. Because 7 Jack would have been a straight flush, or 6 7 would have been a straight flush. The river was the Jack of spades. So now I know that they don't have 7 Jack, but they could have had 6 7. You know what I mean? Or they could have had Jack Queen. Now that I see the Jack, I know they don't have Queen Jack of spades. So they bet enough to put me all in. I snap call and go ahead and show that I have king 3 of spades. And so I ended up winning that hand as well. They had the queen high spade. Like I said, I'd do it again. If this is something that you guys liked seeing, I'll try to do a little bit better with my camera angles and being more aware to make sure that I don't cover my cards. And hopefully next time I'll have a little bit better success because I didn't actually win anything this time. So hopefully the next time that I play, I'll be a little bit better prepared, meaning I'll have a bigger bankroll to play PLO, and then I'll also be in a better position to, record and make sure that I get the hands better on camera for you guys. So like I said, if you enjoyed this type of content and you want to see more PLO games or Big O games, just let me know, and I will sacrifice my bankroll to help you guys learn a little bit more about PLO and other Big O and Omaha games. So other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and see you later. Bye.